I am more than grateful to stand here to welcome you all in this two-day national workshop on Himalayan Alpine Biodiversity Characterization and Information Network, organized by Center for Biodiversity and Taxonomy, Department of Botany, University of Kashmir, in collaboration with Indian Institute of Remote Sensing, Dehradun. When we talk of Indian Himalayan region, we see that it is spread across 13 Indian states, union territories, stretching across 2,500 kilometers. Nearly 50 million people reside in this region, which is characterized by diverse demographic and versatile economic, environmental and social systems. The economic conditions in the Himalayas partly depend on the limited resources available in different parts of the vast region of varied ecological zones. The Himalayas are abound in economic resources including pockets of rich arable land, extensive grasslands and forests, mineral deposits, easy to harness water power and great natural beauty. The most productive arable lands in the western Himalayas are the Kashmir Valley, the Kangra Valley, the Satluj River Basin, and the terraces flanking the Ganga and Yamuna rivers in Uttarakhand. The crops produced in this area include rice, corn, wheat, millet, potatoes, sugarcane. Most of the fruit orchards of Himalayas lie in Kashmir Valley and Kulu Valley, which produce fruits like apple, peaches, pears, and cherries, dry fruits like walnuts and almonds. Tea plantations in foothills of Darjeeling, spices in Sikkim. Then we have the medicinal herbs growing mostly wild in all the regions. Exclusive population growth has placed great stress on the forests in many areas, leading to deforestation, triggering environmental degradation and extinction of species. Here in this gathering, we have researchers from many Himalayan states who can work together to save the Himalayan resources for the future generations and would suggest measures towards sustainable development of the region. The objective of this two-day workshop is also to ponder upon all the issues related to the threatened ecosystems of the region. To be precise, the theme of the workshop is regarding the alpine biodiversity, which is very much prone to the climate change. The workshop will provide a platform to the scientific community to come together and work in collaboration for the upliftment of the region. I wish this workshop a great success. Thank you.
I, on behalf of Indian Institute of Remote Sensing, first of all, warmly welcome you all here for participating in the National Workshop on Himalayan Alpine Biodiversity Characterization and Information System Network, which is sponsored by Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. So, this workshop being conducted by Center for Biodiversity and Taxonomy, Department of Botany, University of Kashmir. I am thankful for them for hosting this workshop. This workshop provides a great opportunity to all participants in participating in the scientific interaction and deliberation to address the one of the most important fragile ecosystem of the Himalayan region. And it becomes a very relevant today because we are facing global warming and climate change scenario, and then in that case this becomes a very sensitive issue and utmost important for our Himalayan region. So I say that this is the workshop being conducted as a nodal institute by Indian Institute of Remote Sensing and with the participating institutions or participating centers from the various states, stakeholder as a coordinating centers. First of all, I just say that Indian Institute of Remote Sensing is a constituent of Indian Space Research Organization. And it is the, as you are aware, that it is the premier institute for imparting or capacity building in the field of geospatial technology for the natural resource management. IRS impart training not only in the forestry but agriculture and soils, water resources, geoscience, marine atmospheric science, urban science, and disaster management risk assessment. Recently, we are doing in the mountain ecosystem the radio tracer based analysis for soil erosion studies, because if we see that in the entire Himalayan area there is because of its rugged and rugged terrains, the experimentation on the erosion cannot be conducted, and therefore we find a very few literature on erosion quantifications. So keeping in mind of that, we started from higher Himalayas to the lower Himalayas, the rate of soil erosion based on the quantification of radio tracer based isotopes analysis. And also we are addressing toward the soil quality aspect, because we know that soil quality is one of the important issues which is getting affected by the various disturbances. And in this we see which are the soil quality indicators in the various forest ecosystem and agriculture ecosystem can be an indicator. So those indicators can be monitored through the project.
I would say that to give a perspective that department, on behalf of the Department of Wildlife Protection, J&K government, we in the department are right now managing 11.5% of the geographical area of the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, and the repositories are huge in these protected area network. I would say we are managing 73 species of mammalian species, around 450 species of birds which have been checklisted. There are a lot of amphibians, reptiles, then bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms. These are the repositories we are engaged in managing these in our landscapes. The landscapes vary from the plain area to alpine to subalpine landscapes, and we in the Department of Wildlife Protection lay a thrust on integrated research, scientific management, and wherein we have collaborative partners from all the research institutions like University of Kashmir, and various faculties are right now in coordination with the Department of Wildlife Protection, taking various studies on board related to the biodiversity studies and the conservation.
I have a few expectations from this project. First, the findings of this study, the project, must have or should lead to management and conservation of the alpine biodiversity. We manage that, and as Dr. Shah has just said, they are major stakeholders of the alpine meadow system. So the study that comes out of it, the results should have a direct practical implication. So for that, it might need modification or amendment of the project objectives, and if it is within the scope of this workshop, this may be considered. Just emphasizing this point, the second thing that I want to say is there has been a lot of studies, the landscape level characterization that you are referring to, Dr. Suresh Kumar. Many of these studies normally come out with the extent of occurrence of a species, its geographical distribution, and those kind of things. Yes, they are very, very important. But as a manager, for me to know is what is the area of occurrence, what is the actual area where the species occurs, and what is the density of this, the actual inventarization. For the forestry species, we have very standard technology. For herbs and shrubs, we normally do not have, we go by the indices, abundance, and those kind of things. They are relative. They have an ecological role, but administratively when I manage, because these resources are also directly related to the livelihood of the people. So to sustainably manage them, I need to know how much quantity a system can provide. And one more thing that I just want to add, the forest department, we do management planning through our working plan exercises. Traditionally, we have been collecting the biodiversity related data once in 10 years. So J&K Forest Department is planning to migrate to a continuous forestry inventory program by which the entire state, in a systematic manner, we would be going around once in 5 years. So on a 1:1 square kilometer grid. So we are training our frontline staff in doing that. I have about 3,000 forest guards, I have about 5,500 forest guards here. The entire state is managed by those people. So I would request you to associate them in your field exercises because they know the resources. They may not know the scientific name, but they know the resources by their local name. And now the staff that I have, they are very well educated. Most of them are graduates, some of them are postgraduates. So they would be able to add value to your entire process. But if you invest in them, they would be so you are strengthening a department. So that would be helpful because they are the people who would be collecting the data for us. So if it is possible, I request them to be associated in all your studies when you are in the field because they are anyways there. So these are a couple of things and one thing that we could be part of this project. So I once again thank you all for the opportunity, and I wish that you have purposeful deliberations today and tomorrow.
It's a privilege to be here. As was highlighted in the beginning by Dr. Anzar, Department of Botany has been involved in assessing the biodiversity of the Himalayas for the last almost 20 years. We have so far completed a running around 20 projects regarding assessment of different types of diversities we have. And majority of the projects have been collaborative across Himalayas. Some of the projects starting from Kashmir almost up to Assam, and many institutions, many universities involved to compile the data. And majority of the projects sponsored by DST, DBT, Minister of Environmental Forensics, GP Pandit Institute, UGC, etc. have been providing us guidelines that individual projects cannot bear a fruit. The collaboration will actually help us to compile data across a particular belt. Majority of the achievements have been that we have compiled data about the overall diversity status in the Kashmir Himalayas. We have also compiled data about the medicinal plants across the Himalayan belt, and we have submitted that complete data to University Grants Commission, distribution, density, diversity and status of many important medicinal plants and what we can do to preserve and conserve those. Plus we have also tried to educate the scholars who are working on these projects or scholars who are working in the fields that unless and until they follow a particular pattern of data compilation, their data cannot have a market value. Some people visit fields, just observe what is there and then try to publish that without actually comparing it with what is available data. As was rightly pointed out in the beginning, if we compare the data of say 10 years ago with what the data at present is, we will find a huge change. As was rightly pointed out by Rashid Saab, what diversity we had in the Himalayas about 20-30 years ago, both animal diversity and plant diversity. And once we compare that with present status, there's a huge change. And in that compilation, we can actually assess what are the causes and what are the concerns and how we can be able to revive what we have lost. And in that, individuals on their own cannot work. It's a collaborative sort of pattern wherein we can form groups across the Himalayan belt with different states or different union territories also, so that we share and try to seek guidance from them what they have compiled and what are the drawbacks in our data and what are the positives in our data. And those compilations will help us to actually develop new strategies for maintaining whatever diversity we have inherited. Now, if we look at the pictures of Kashmir that were seen in the documentary that was produced, what I have seen as a scholar, what I have seen as a teacher now, there's a huge difference. We had to walk through patches of hardly 2 or 3 feet wide. Now we can actually visit in our own vehicles while the roads are almost as wide as 40 feet. And that is not a natural calamity that has been done by we people. So we have to consider as to what could be the ways and means through which whatever diversity we have inherited, we can take care of that and educate first ourselves, then our progenies as how we can maintain and sustain that. In such deliberations, in such meetings, always ideas floated by different PIs, different participants, helps us to draft newer policies. We are lucky enough that I have already organized 3 meetings of DST to assess the progress of different projects. And we have one more meeting on 20th here in the University of Kashmir to see what sort of goals they have drafted, what they have achieved, so that we can recommend as to what they can do or modify further so that they can achieve these. And in such gatherings, in such workshops, in such meetings, obviously the net results can highlight what are the needs and what are the plans that can help us to overcome those problems that we are facing. I hope that the deliberations and interaction will help us to draft a plan which can in turn be shared, not only with locals, but also at the national level. Hope and pray at the end of this workshop, Dr. Ansar will share that outcome with us, because we have discussed with Nilofer Madam that every month, whatever we have done in the form of organizing seminars, workshops, conferences, whatever the net outcome of those is, we'll be able to publish that as a recommendation in that meeting, so that which is highlighted in the press also. Thank you very much.
It is an NMHS project. This university has a reasonable footprint in this NMHS Sikkim, in this national mission. There are several projects from different various departments which are being run under this national mission. It has done 3 things to me. It appears to me that it has done 3 things. One, that it has brought us closer. Many of us were not previously knowing each other, and then NMHS has brought us together. Reason being that there is a requirement for at least 3 states to come together for a medium or the high-end project. I had also the occasion of participating in few of the projects. For me, it was a great learning experience. I learned a lot. And then also learned a lot about the Himalaya itself. The Himalaya is a system in which collaboration is a must. You can't work in isolation. You have to learn from each other's experiences. There are stalwarts present in the Himalaya, as Professor Rawat is here. We have to learn from them, and then the students are also to be trained in the process, right? They have to take this torch forward, I agree. In that sense, the blend of very young and the very seasoned people in this hall augurs well for the ecological sciences. We intend to, in the institution, we intend to increase our footprint in this NMHS. We are welcome to participate in the projects which are going to be formulated in the next phase also in a very big way. And then the science in the process has also improved. I understand that I did participate in the Timberline project, which was headed by Professor S.P. Singh. There was a lot of discussion, debate about the methodology, as has been the case with your project. This is something which is very important. There is a lot of discussion, debate before starting the project about the methodology, uniformity in the methodology to be followed by various the workers, right? And then this is something which is a major takeaway from all these major projects. We hope and expect the deliberations are going to be very fruitful. People are going to actually, as Mr. Ravi Kumar suggested certain things. And then the team has also grown over a period of time in the Himalayas. We are open to criticism. The works are being criticized. The comments are made, not just for the fun of it, but just to make basically improvements in the quality of work that we are doing. I have no doubt in my mind that the people who are working in Himalaya are doing good work. They are publishing also in good journals. And then we hope and expect that the kind of leadership that is being provided, and then the kind of the human resource that is being created in Himalaya, I think that the future of Himalaya is very bright, right? Only thing is that we would require some sort of institutional, more collaborations. Beyond projects also, can we think of some sort of an activity? It is very surprising that one collaborates with person in Europe who works in mountains, but one does not collaborate with a person who works next door in Uttarakhand, isn't it? How it happens. I believe that people like Professor G.S. Rawat should take a lead, identify, like-minded people across Himalaya, project or no project. We could continue working, right? We could have, common methodologies. A research scholar goes out, does the field work. We can translate that work into something very meaningful, right? These are a few of my comments. I will be speaking in the afternoon also. But I am very grateful to all of you who have come. I have had the personal interaction with many of them, right? And then I have learned in the process a lot. And then the additional benefit to our institution is that our students also learn from these presentations a lot, right? That is a spin-off from such type of the workshops. They are trained, very well trained in many things. The methodology is made very clear to them. In that way, it is very helpful to us, right? Thank you very much.
At the outset, I really congratulate both the collaborators, that's our Center for Biodiversity and Taxonomy, Department of Botany, and Indian Institute of Remote Sensing, ISRO, Dehradun, for organizing and thinking of such an important two-day workshop, and we really welcome you at our university. I'm happy that we have galaxy of intellectuals, academicians and researchers here with us. I'm also very happy to see that we have with us our officials from the government line of our departments, without whose participation I think the present workshop would not have been so fruitful. It was really a great pleasure to listen to all of them, besides our researchers who have joined us from outside our UT. I'm sure the deliberations of 2 days workshop will be very fruitful for making the recommendations which are very important of any program, and no doubt in future also, if any this type of activity is needed or planned in our university, most welcome. This is an invitation to our Indian Institute of Remote Sensing. They are always welcome to hold such workshops here. In fact, this year we have been very busy in holding number of such national activities in our university. As one of the speakers earlier said, there was some type of disconnectivity. I'm very happy that we have been connected. One of the main effort of our university is we definitely want to be connected with such types of projects at national level. You'll be happy to know recently we had one DST meeting where around 700 PDF were assessed by 15 experts from all over India. So this gives you an idea how serious we are at taking up the national activities in our university. This present workshop on Himalayan Alpine Biodiversity, Characterization and Information System Network, of course, is a very important type of an activity. The earlier speakers who are experts on this have already given the importance of this workshop. As Professor Zafar, our Dean Biological Sciences, already said that our faculty, our scholars and lots of projects have been conducted in this field, still going on, and I'm sure that this present one will further strengthen this type of an activity in our university. And of course, being one of the premier institute of higher education in J&K, the University of Kashmir has to play a leading role, and I think you have chosen the right place to be here with us. And I do request the participants, the officers who have joined us from Department of Forest, Department of Animal Husbandry, Department of Wildlife, and must be from other departments also, to be well connected with the university in various projects. As I was so happy they have openly said they have human resource available. We always suffer, our projects always suffer because we don't have human resources to collect the data and all. I mean, I was very happy to see, at least in this workshop, the project organizers have an idea that there are human resources available, and if you can utilize their services, I think you should do it. Of course, my take on this particular workshop would be to have proper recommendations, as Dean Research Professor Nauchu already said. We are at, because this makes a difference. When we put our recommendations for the policy makers, that should be ultimate aim of our projects and ultimate of our activities. I was happy, wherever we have to make the change, you have roped in all such departments. And I was happy to hear from Professor Zafar. He said at least by this type of activity, by this type of research, we at the university, our own colleagues, they have got together not only at national level, they have been able to have that connectivity. I would definitely like this connectivity becomes strengthened a lot. About the field, I have heard from all the experts. I congratulate my colleague Professor Dar for this wonderful compilation of research work, which I am sure will be very beneficial for the researchers, for the scholars, for the students. As a researcher and academician, I know we start with some writings, but because of the concentration and patience, we leave it halfway. I really congratulate you for having that patience and taking out a wonderful piece of research work which will be beneficial for the students. With these words, once again, I congratulate our Center for Biodiversity and Taxonomy and Indian Institute of Remote Sensing, ISRO, for organizing this combined workshop, and I do look forward to have such activities on the campus in future also, so that we really strengthen the ties and address to the issues of biodiversity which we have.